А я твоей дружине слово дал.
Ukraine is using future warfare. Remote-controlled machine guns, robotic mine layers, and dog-like camera bots move across the front lines, gathering intelligence and striking with precision. Autonomous tracked vehicles deliver ammunition and evacuate the wounded under fire. Ukraine's engineers turn innovation into survival, machines fighting side by side with soldiers. Next, we'll see real combat footage of these robotic systems in action. The Russian occupiers deployed an unprecedented amount of equipment and at least 2 enemy brigades. Their goal was to break through in the areas of Stepov and Okeratine. The soldiers of the 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade, together with their allied units, deprived the invaders of over 500 tanks, 250 additional armored vehicles, and eliminated or wounded about 7,000 Russian troops. Since November, the zombie-like Russian occupiers did not abandon their attempts to reach the Avdiivka coke plant. However, their assaults always ended near the parking area, where our Bradley crews, FPV drone operators, and infantry units destroyed them. The command began to preserve what remained of their equipment, because everything that went out to the battlefield was left there. From the beginning of February, the occupiers launched massive meat wave assaults, stepping over the corpses of their fallen comrades. I have shown you these scenes many times, and they cannot fail to shock any civilized society. During this period, the Russian command began to preserve the few pieces of equipment it had left, because everything that went out to the battlefield never came back. In the designated positions near Stepov, the invaders were unable to gain or hold any ground. A Russian soldier was unloading equipment from an APC, preparing to deliver ammunition to other troops hiding behind the trees. But a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone had already spotted them. Within seconds, the drone command center launched an FPV kamikaze drone. It locked onto the target and struck directly, destroying the soldier before he could finish his task. In the Avdiivka sector, Ukrainian crews of the 47th Mechanized Brigade used American M1 Abrams tanks to destroy Russian forces and their armor. These legendary machines, tested in Iraq and Afghanistan, now strike with precision and power on Ukrainian soil. In the middle of the fight for Avdiivka, Frontline units started using armored robotic logistics vehicles to carry supplies where manned trucks could not go. These autonomous tank resupply units roll out under their own power, navigate mine-scarred roads and shattered terrain, and keep a low profile while moving through contested zones. Equipped with redundant sensors, thermal cameras, and remote link controls, commanders say they need more of these systems, not to replace soldiers, but to keep them alive. They came like a hammer, an elite assault group from the 15th Guards Brigade pushing hard into the Avdiivka sector. But they met a different kind of battlefield, coordinated, precise, and lethal. Bradley crews laid down suppressive fire and smashed armored columns, while FPV strike teams hunted openings from above. Explosions lit the skyline as armored vehicles and transport columns burned and broke apart. The assault dissolved into chaos. Soldiers abandoned their positions and began to flee, running for any cover they could find. As they scattered, drone pilots zeroed in. Bradley gunners finished what the airstrike had begun. In under an hour, the elite formation was neutralized, engines silent, flags lowered, and the enemy's momentum shattered. Among the wreckage, one Russian soldier made a different choice. He dropped his weapon, raised his hands, and surrendered. The only right decision he ever made. Now, in Ukrainian custody, he warns others not to fight the 47th Mechanized Brigade. You won't survive. Despite the captured soldier's warning, other Russian troops ignored his plea and launched another assault. They surged forward across open ground, into a gauntlet of FPV strikes and Bradley fire. Within moments, the attack collapsed. Armored vehicles burned, infantry broke and fell, and the offensive dissolved into a rout. Those who pressed on paid the price. The 47th held firm, precise, coordinated, and unforgiving. The battle goes on. After their failed assault, the Russian troops broke and ran. With their vehicles destroyed, they fled across the open fields, desperate to escape. But the drones were faster. FP5 units from the 47th Mechanized Brigade chased them down, striking one after another until the field fell silent. What began as an attack ended as a rout, a scene of smoke, wreckage, and scattered bodies. The battle for Avdiivka continues, but panic now belongs to the enemy. In another part of Ukraine, far from the front lines of Avdiivka, a different kind of battle unfolds. Deep behind enemy lines, Ukrainian special forces from the 73rd Naval Center carry out silent missions, operations of precision, patience, and danger. Their task, to cripple the enemy's logistics. Moving under the cover of darkness, operators plant mines along the very roads used by Russian convoys. Ukrainian forces advance through dense forests, moving silently between shattered trees and burnt soil. Each step forward is measured, each sound controlled. The enemy could be anywhere. Then, above the canopy, reconnaissance drones spot Russian troops trying to regroup. Seconds later, FPV drones dive from the sky, striking with deadly precision.